So you've probably clicked on this video because you are wondering how to get into teaching. And I found myself in the exact same place almost like 7 months ago. I had started after uni in July a corporate London job in recruitment, and it just soul sucked me. And I had always kind of considered teaching as an option, but you know, you kind of have this idea that you have to, I don't know, like go and experience the world and do like the real job. From what I found, teaching is a massively real job and it's not given the credit it's deserved. So anyway, in July, I quit my corporate job. I only lasted 6 weeks. I was completely useless. And I went and I got a teaching assistant role or a learning support assistant role at a school near me. And I just loved it. I loved working with the kids. I loved the busyness of the day. I loved that there was not a single boring moment in my entire day. Everyone was friendly, and I felt like I was really helping people achieve something and that I was giving my little bit of good to the world. And so I said, okay, do you know what? Maybe I could make a career out of education. And so this video really just aims to outline the different routes into teaching and whether I was lucky and started with a degree, and it's harder without a degree, but there is different routes. So I'm gonna just talk through those, explain some of them, and hopefully it will help you, because I had to spend a long time trying to figure it out and it's not always that clear. So maybe this video will provide a little bit of clarity on the best routes, the different routes, things to aim for and whatnot. So before I get into that, I'm just going to give a little bit of background. So how teacher training works is you find a training provider and you have to complete your first year, whether it's in a school or at university or doing placements, and you have to get your QTS, which is qualified teacher status. And this is basically your like training year where you go through, you're mentored, you're observed, and you are supported as much as you can to say you're now qualified to teach. And then after that year, you have to complete an NQT year, which is a newly qualified teacher year. And that is the second year, and you're still observed, you're still supported, but you're kind of left to your own devices a bit more. Once you've completed those 2 years, you are a teacher, you've passed, you've done it all. And so there's different routes into this, and I'm just gonna outlay the different routes. So I found myself looking through the different routes, and I had some preconceived things or some like non-negotiables that I wanted from training. Obviously for me, I was like, if I'm gonna go and train, I'm gonna wanna get everything I can, because you can only do it once. Once you've got your QTS or your PGCE, PGCE is a postgraduate certificate of education. Once you've got that, you can't do it again. So I was like, I'm gonna get everything I can possibly get, and I want it to be salaried, because obviously you've just come out of uni, you don't want to just start a whole nother load of training that's going to cost you money and whatnot. So I was like, okay, I want to get paid for what I'm doing. So there's 3 routes that I had. The first route I had was Schools Direct. So Schools Direct is basically, it works through UCAS and through the government website, and it's where you apply individually to a school, and they will take you through their training provider and provide you with, you're straight in the classroom and you're working there from day one. You're employed by the school, but you're also doing either a PGCE, if that's what a lot of training providers provide, a PGCE, which is like the academic qualification, and you're doing your QTS as part of that. So Schools Direct is just a straight in there, you're straight in school. There's salaried and non-salaried options, so obviously if you can, look for the salaried options. And then look for the other things. So do the training providers provide a PGCE? Do they, who's the training? Is it a university? Is it a qualified provider for training? So that is the first way, that's what I looked at. And it was a good option, it provides some really good things. So it means you can, if you're already like a TA in a school, you can just go straight in, stay with that school. They have training providers and you can hopefully work through with your school. If not, it's kind of the same UCAS process. And I've got a blog that you can look through and have a click on those links. So that's the first option, Schools Direct. It's really good of getting yourself in there, giving yourself a paid option and getting trained to do it all at the same time. So great, and you've got a lot of flexibility. You can choose where you go, but obviously it has its cons. So you might want to kind of not be in school straight away. It's quite abrupt straight in there. You might not be paid, like you might not get salaried, or your tuition might not get covered. So there's different things to consider. The second one is Teach First. So Teach First are a not-for-profit charity. What they look for is quality teachers and put them into education in lower socioeconomic backgrounds with the mission of creating a fairer education for all. So this is obviously a really good mission, and they provide a really like incredible training package, and they are widely known for providing excellent teachers. And so they offer, the way you do that is you apply through their charity, and they have quite an extensive application process. And once you've applied, you go through their assessment day and whatnot, but they offer a PGDE, which is double the credits, so university credits, 60 for a PGCE, you get 120 university credits for a PGDE. Use that to go on to do a master's. They are salaried, so you're salaried while you're there. You get the support of Teach First as well as the support from the school. You are then also part of the Teach First network of affiliates, so even after you can have access to their support, their events and different opportunities throughout Teach First. So that was another option that I looked at. It was really good because the salary is quite good, and they really look after you. You feel like you're getting everything you could possibly get out of teaching, but then it can be considered to be a bit elitist. Why do these people get this, and why are we not, if you're creating equality for all, why is not everyone given the same equality? And it's an incredible workload. You're doing 2 years more of university study while also working a full-time job. You're in the classroom from day one, learning. I think you start on 60% in your first term, and then you got 80% in your second term. So it's a very intensive course, but if you feel like you're up to the challenge, it provides everything you could possibly want out of a teacher training. The third option is doing a traditional PGCE. So this is where you apply to uni via UCAS, and you just apply for the PGCE, which is kind of the traditional accepted route. A good thing about getting a PGCE or a PGDE is that it's internationally recognized. So you can go and travel the world doing it, like different countries accept it. Teaching is on a skilled work list in quite a few countries. So it's recognized internationally, which is a really good thing to have. And it's also recognized by schools, as you know, kind of the snobby, like, oh, have you got a PGCE? So it's good to have if you can get it. So a lot of people will do the traditional PGCE route. They apply through university and they go do their academic study. It's a bit slower, and then you get placements in school. So you'll get 2 placements over your QTS year, and then you can either get 1 or 2 year PGCEs. So if you just did a year, you do 2 placements, so 6 months each, around with holidays. And you would then go and do those placements and do your university on the side. So you might do a day a week university and your essays alongside that. The thing with this is you can sometimes find funding from your school or getting a bursary or something, but often you have to self-fund it. You're not paid via your placements. That's kind of a free thing, kind of like nurses when they're studying. They have to do their placements and they don't get paid for that. It's part of getting your qualification. So they're the 3 routes, and in my blog I kind of explore the pros and cons, the entry of how to get in there, what's eligibility. So these 3 are all graduate routes. So once you've done a degree, this is your postgraduate route. So Teach First accept graduates, Schools Direct accept graduates, and obviously to do a PGC it's a postgraduate, so it's after you've done your degree. Now some of you might be thinking, okay, what if I haven't done a degree? What are my options? Well, you could just do a Bachelor of Arts Education, so just go straight in, you get your PGC through doing your 3-year degree, and that can be an option, but obviously you've got tuition fees to consider. Can you take the time out to do that? It might not be what you want. So there is another way to do it, which is you can get your QTS through academies or private schools. So they are not bound by the same laws and that govern the rest of schools, and they can choose if they want to. Say you worked in a school as a TA, you could then apply for an in-house role. Say they were looking for an unqualified teacher to teach X, and you've been doing that as part of your TA role maybe. You could apply for that and they could consider your application and review whether they wanted to do it, and then you would kind of be supported, but you'd be working as an unqualified teacher. So they have different salary variations, and I think unqualified teachers work around 15k to 19k depending on location, and that's pretty straight. Along with, you'll be working as an unqualified teacher, getting your QTS in your first year of all of these trainings. So if you're salaried, it'll be around 15 to 19k depending on location. So that's a really rough guide, a really brief, quick, just providing a bit of information on how you can access teaching. It's honestly a great profession, and it's so challenging, and there's so much to consider and weigh up. You have to challenge yourself, improve yourself, but you're also responsible for the futures of so many children. And it's not just, those who can't teach. Those who do really can't teach. And so it requires a certain personality. And if you're considering that 100%, I encourage you to go for it. And I hope this helped a little bit. Check out my blog, and that can provide more information with some links and some places to go, the higher pros and cons. And I hope this helped. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comment, and I really appreciate it. Bye.